Calamine ointment. So the purpose or aim or objective of this experiment is to prepare the satellite Calamine ointment. So why we prepare, we have to understand the method of the preparation. So those method of preparation of the ointment is such as incorporation method, which is navigation and trituration, and the fusion method have to be understood. The second is supply. So why we supply, why we dispense the compounded calamine ointment, we have to know the critical information that we have to provide for the patient. So mainly those information that have to be incorporated on the label writing have to be understood. Here we have master formula. This master formula is obviously according to the United States of Pharmacopoeia. The main ingredients that we need in order to compound the calamine ointment are medito, the calamine powder, which is finely sifted, 15 gram, and white soft paraffin as inactive agent as ointment base, which is in quantity 85 gram, is how the United States Pharmacopoeia recommends the preparation of the calamine ointment. Here we have ingredients we need medito, calamine powder, which we have to sieve it in order to get particle size range, and the white soft paraffin as ointment base. Here we have equipment. We need ballers. We have many two types of ballers, which are the electronic or digital balance and the triple balance. So whichever we have, we need balance in order to weigh each ingredients we need in order to compound the calamine ointment. We need watch glass or wax paper to what? To compound, to weigh those chemical entities, those chemical ingredients that have nature of sticky or staying in nature. So if particular chemical ingredient has a tendency to attach or stain or stick to a particular surface of the object, we have to use watch glass or wax it to prevent the stickiness of those ingredients. Because if it is stick on particular surface of the object, it left on that surface which affect the calculated amount have to be incorporated in the dosage form, or actually it affects the final dosage form amount of the dosage form. That's why if if the ingredient has a tendency to attach, to stain, to stick to particular surface of the object, we have to use which glass or wax paper. Again, we need sieve and flexible spatula, spoon spatula, ointment slab or tiny ointment jar, and the paper. So here, ointment slab is used to just to mix those ingredients on it. And then we have ointment jar, which is used for made to pack this particular dosage for which is ointment. Here we need paper for mainly two purposes. One, to weigh the powder ingredients maybe in this condition, in this context is a calamine powder. Second, to prepare label. So for this reason we need paper. So what is role of this ingredient? So in the compounding process of this calamine ointment, you have to understand the role of ingredients and the role of each equipment we use. What is the reason behind of the incorporation of these specific ingredients, or the reason behind using particular equipment? So, as a lot of ingredients, we have calamine. Calamine is the active pharmaceutical ingredient. Obviously, you know that medicine contain two agents, which is active and inactive. Inactive, what you call excipients. So as active ingredient in calamine ointment, we have calamine powder, while paraffin is ointment bed, which is inactive, which acts as a vehicle for the system. So the calamine is active pharmaceutical ingredient. What does it mean? Its effect is mainly as astringent. Astringent means those chemical ingredients that have the characteristic of constricting the skin and so closing the particular wound. So they have the tendency to absorb particular oozing or particular secretion from the wound. That's why those chemical ingredients are referred as astringent. So they have capacity to constrict the skin and close up somewhat the wound. So again, the calamine have the effect to relieve the discomfort secondary to particular dermatological conditions such as dermatitis or maybe eczema or other skin conditions that have itchiness as symptom. So it is clear that calamine has the capacity to relieve the discomfort of the dermatitis or other skin condition, maybe due to particular poison or other, or maybe due to contact of particular chemical agent, what they call secondary to that chemical contact. On our skin, the contact chemical dermatitis can be the cause. That's why it relieve it perfect justice. So we have general procedure to do this experiment. Firstly, obviously, as you know, as a student, we have to wear our gown correctly. Second, we have to wash our hand. We have to dry our hand with paper tissue or waiting until it's dry. Then we will glove. Then we have to clean working glove bench. So የምንሰራበት ላብ ቤንቹ ቴብሉ ንጹህ መሆን አለበት ነው የምንሰራበት environment በእውነት የተወደድ ደስ ሁሉ ተውቃ then we have to bring ingredients and equipment to the already clean working lab bench የምንሰራበት ላብ ላይ የምንጠቀም እቃና ኬሚካሎችን እናመጣለን። እቃዎቹ ንጹህ መሆናቸውን እያረጋገጥን ንጹህ ካሉ እያጸዳን አጽድተን ማምጣት አለብን። ስሌት ሊቀም ላይ ኬሚካል ጋር ኢኩፕመንቶች then we have to calculate develop our working formula. Working formula develop to go. So working formula develop ካደረግን በኋላ ኢኩፕመንቶቻችንን ካሊብሬት ማድረግ አለብን። ኢኩፕመንቶች ካሊብሬት ወጥቷልና ሜቢ ባላንስ ሊሆን ይችላል for powder or particular weighing process or we have to tear the bottle. So if particularly it has no any calibration, calibrated carbonate, bottle, we have to tear it. For example, if we need to prepare the final volume of 100 ml, so this bottle is not graded, not calibrated, it does not have any measurement. That's why it's difficult obviously to get where 100 ml is. That's why we have to take it. So using the pure water, we have to measure that pure water with particular cylinder to 100 ml. Then we have to pour it, transfer that amount of the water to the bottle. That's why we easily can get where 100 ml is. Then we make that point what we call particle just point the particle line to remember where the 100 ml is. This process now is stable. So if it is bottle or if we are preparing particular liquid entities, we have to tell if it is solid or powder, such ingredients that have to be weighed, we have to calibrate our balance. Then we have to weigh or we have to measure. Weighing is the process related for solid entities or for powders, the liquid ingredients have to be measured using particular volumetric measurement equipment, such as maybe particular glass or particular cylinder. So after we weigh the all ingredients, maybe in this context is the calamine and the white sauce paraffin. So the calamine powder and the sort of white sauce paraffin have to be weighed after we calibrated the balance. Then after we measure them, usually the calamine have to be sifted. After we sifted it has to be weighed. So in the actual mixing procedure, we have to treat the already sifted calamine powder with a portion of the soft paraffin. With portion of soft paraffin that we treated well on ointment slab with particular spatula until it is smooth. Gradually, we have to add the remaining part of the ointment base, which is soft paraffin, with continuous trituration until uniform ointment is okay. So the uniform ointment has to be obtained, which indicated for sufficient and adequate level of mixing. That can be assessed by observing the absence of gritty there, so there is no weakness in the mixture. Again, usually the cream, the ointment or paste, we feel the clicking type of sound if the mixing is efficient. Through this, we assess our level of mixing process. So after that, we label the product using particular labeling procedure. Then we record and document the process. This is the final step, which is recording. So after we prepare the product, we have to be storing the ointment jar. Then we have to store at cool temperature. Then we have to clean the table. We have to return back those ingredients and the chemicals. Then we have to finalize the procedure with recording and the documentation. So now, yes, this is the actual step we have to follow. But for exam purpose, somewhat, we follow which is some modified steps. For example, just we usually start with calculation. This is the simplest thing. So, for example, for the practical example, we start with just what? Analyzing the question and developing the working formula. So, still you didn't wash your hand, you didn't wear glove. So, the first step you do is you have to determine the amount that you are going to use in this preparation. So after you calculate this and jot down the ingredients you need, chemical ingredients or the equipment you need, and the lot of ingredients and the procedures, you start washing your hand, then wearing gloves, then do the actual compounds. Then finally you get it, then record in the document the process.